Hey guys, welcome back to Top Chair Sports. I'm Victor. This is an NFL Friday special edition video. Sorry we had to mix things up. Apologize for that. For that reason, no special intro. We're just gonna get right into it. However, before I want to get to all this, because obviously this is new and we're changing up some stuff, I want to say congrats to Lamar Jackson. In his second NFL season ever, he already broke the single season rush record for a QB. He broke Michael Vick's record last night. Good thing we didn't record. Yeah, prior to that. However, he needed 23 yards, I believe, or 27 to get it. He smashed it. He had 70 plus yards in the game rushing. And now he has two more games, at least one more game. He may be benched the final game. We have to wait and see. Probably not, but two more games to add to that record in which he will probably be competing with himself for the future. So congrats to Lamar Jackson. As a Steelers fan, I'm incredibly afraid to have to play you for the next few years of your career, at least. And they definitely love him there in Baltimore. He definitely got the ovation he deserved last night. So, with that, this completely different, obviously, than our usual pick'ems layout. We are now with 3 weeks left remaining in the NFL season, so I want to kind of look more at playoffs. Picks are there, they come into play in this. However, for the teams that don't really even make it on this board, we're not as interested. I'll still run through my picks at the end, along with my lock pick of the week. And of course, we tweet out prior to this episode being delayed that last night's pick was the Ravens. So, in the AFC, our current standings, and this may be a little hard to read for you guys. So, number 1, Baltimore, after their win last night, now 12-2. Number 2, New England, 10-3. Kansas City 9-4. Houston 8-5. Those are your 4 division leaders. Your current wild cards are Buffalo 9-4. Pittsburgh 8-5, with Tennessee at 8-5 in the hunt. Tennessee, interesting case. We're going to get to them in a little bit. In the NFC, you have San Fran, Green Bay, New Orleans, and Dallas, with records respectively of 11-2, 10-3, 10-3, and 6-7. Yes, you heard me correctly. Dallas 6-7. The entire NFC East looking like a joke at this point in time. However, they're still there in the hunt, or in the wild cards. We have Seattle at 10-3, Minnesota at 9-4, and then in the hunt we have the Rams 8-5, and technically still the Bears at 7-6. Gotta think if they lose this week, their chances are pretty slim, because then obviously they would need everybody else to lose out. So, also in the hunt down here, we have Philly. They're below the dotted line because they cannot even reach a wild card. However, they're shooting for that division title, which I will also jump back to. That's going to come down to one game this season. That's it. So, in the AFC, in the next 3 games, I see here's where their records are now. Here are their next 3 opponents. Here's where I see their records being after all is said and done. Right now, my projections for the end of the season, the Ravens will end up 14-2. This is assuming they do not bench Lamar week 17 or Mark Ingram or any other guys. The reason why I do not think they will bench him is because even though by the end of week 15, if they win week 16, they will now have clinched the first seed. Even with that said, they play the Steelers week 17, and I've never known one of these two teams to just let the other have a chance at the playoffs or take it easy in these games. So if week 17 they can knock the Steelers out of playoffs, then they will do that. And I expect nothing less, because we would do the same to them. So I have them at 14-2, your number 1 seed. I have New England at 13-3, your number 2. Those two teams get by. Kansas City as the 3 seed at 12-4. What's going to be interesting is I am going to keep the Texans at the 4 seed at 10-6. However, these alternate red here, pink records, are because the Texans and Titans play each other still 2 times this year. They have not once played each other yet. Spencer and I were talking about this, along with me and Brett slightly. This is just ridiculous. I think there needs to be some type of formatting in the NFL schedule creation that you cannot play the same team, especially the same team within your division, because you only play your division opponents twice during the year, 2 times in a span of 5 weeks total, and 4 weeks total, and especially not in the final 4 weeks of the season. It can't happen. I would even say the final 5 weeks of the season. I almost think you should have to play them once in the first 8 weeks and once in the second 8 weeks. That's my opinion. Let me know where you think on that, because I think it's ridiculous that these teams are battling for the division still and haven't played each other once. So, I think the Texans, from here on out, obviously they're tied with the Titans. All they have to do is roughly match them. As long as they go 1-1 versus them, I see the Texans taking this division because they could win at Tampa, whereas I don't think the Titans will win at home versus New Orleans. However, crazier things have happened. So, my prediction, Texans are going to stay as a 4 seed, 10-6. Pittsburgh is going to tie with Buffalo as a 10-6 record. Pittsburgh is going to jump Buffalo on the head-to-head tiebreaker that they are going to beat them this week. That is my pick 'em for this week. It's slightly out of hope. However, it's in Pittsburgh, and both teams have looked solid coming into it. I like the chances of the Steelers to win this one because it's at home. Steelers would jump to the 5th seed with 10-6. They would play at Houston in the first wild card, and then the Bills would still hang on to a wild card spot. They will be the second wild card at 10-6. They will have to travel to Kansas City. The Titans will be just outside with a 9-7 record, assuming they can only beat the Texans once. All these other in the hunt teams, technically, I'm not even going to talk about just quite yet. If they all win this week, in week 15, then maybe we'll see. But they need a lot to go their way, and they don't control their own destiny right now. In the NFC, after all is said and done, I have this is going to be interesting, but I have the Seahawks, Saints, and 49ers all ending 13-3. How do you get to that? Well, San Francisco, I see winning their next 2 games, home against Atlanta and the Rams, but losing on the road to Seattle week 17 in what will ultimately determine who the division winner is. I see the Saints winning out home against Indy, at Tennessee, at Carolina. They should be able to handle it. And I see the Seattle Seahawks winning out as well. Again, not going to be easy games for them, but everything will come down to that San Francisco-Seattle matchup. So, what happens then is the Seahawks would tie for record with the 49ers. However, the 49ers have the tiebreaker over the Saints for who gets home field advantage because they beat them on the road. But that won't matter because the Seahawks are going to take the division from them, knocking San Fran down to the first wild card. So when all is said and done, Seahawks will be the number 1 seed. I don't believe they play the Saints. I forget what happened when they played the Saints head-to-head. I need to go back and check that. My bad. Seahawks and Saints will be your 1 and 2 seed. I will figure out the order or comment it below. The 3 seed will be the Packers or the Vikings. I have the Vikings tying the Packers. The NFC is going to be so fun to watch these next 3 weeks. However, the advantage is with the Packers right now. They have a very similar record from here on out with a slightly easier strength of schedule, being at Detroit slightly easier than the Chargers. But I'm going to put, for now, the Packers as the 3 seed with Minnesota having the same record as them. It comes down to division record. I haven't researched that. We're going to go into that more if both win this week. So, Seahawks, Saints, Packers. The Eagles are going to take the division. They're going to win out basically from here on. However, ultimately it comes down to when they play each other still, who's going to win. Who freaking knows with this division. But right now I have your 6 and 7 Eagles at the moment winning out, considering they have a pretty easy schedule aside from that game with Dallas, but it's in Philly, so advantage Philly. Philly at 9 and 7. San Fran would be your number 1 wild card at 13-3. Going to Philly, and then Minnesota will hang on to that second wild card, going, in my mind, 12-4 or 11-5, and having to go to Green Bay. So, we will get another divisional match in that. Let me know what you guys think. I know this is a lot to kind of run through on this board, and you guys can't see it all. Zoom in when you're watching. But yeah, so with that, this is very exciting. I have such high expectations for this weekend. I want to see mainly focus on Green Bay, Minnesota, And of course, the Steelers-Bills game is my game to watch for the week. Whoever wins the Steelers-Bills game will be the first wild card. Book it. That is my promise to you for the week. Now, in the pick'ems, we said Ravens would win last night. That happened. Chicago at Green Bay. I'm taking Green Bay. Pats at Bengals. I'm taking the Pats. They are my lock pick of the week. I know people are going to be like, oh, Pats over Bengals, easy game to pick. Oh, they've been cheating on them. Easy game to pick. Well, everybody else is freaking out that the Pats dynasty is over. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Pats. I think they'll get back on track. There's going to be another separate video, possibly Spencer and I talking about the Pats dynasty. It will be coming out roughly right before first week of playoffs because there's a lot of talk around that and he doesn't know yet, but we will be recording a video before then. Lock pick of the week, Pats over Bengals. Broncos at Chiefs, I'm going to take the Chiefs. Bucks at Lions, I'm taking the Bucks on the road. Texans at Titans, I'm taking the Titans because they're at home. And then I think they lose in Houston. Dolphins at Giants, I'm going to take the Dolphins. Eagles at Redskins, Eagles are going to win. Seahawks at Panthers, go Seahawks. Browns at Cardinals, I'm going to take the Browns in this game. I think they are the better team, and that they proved that in this game in what's been a shaky season for them and a lot of OBJ drama lately. Jags at Raiders, I'm taking the Raiders. Vikings at Chargers, I'm going to take the Vikings. I'm very big on the Vikings this year, if you couldn't tell from episode 1 till now. Falcons at 49ers, I'm taking the 49ers. Pretty clear pick to me. Also, Julio Jones may not play and Calvin Ridley is out. Note that for your fantasy lineups. Rams at Cowboys, I'm taking the Rams. I don't care that it's in Dallas. I think Dallas is overrated, and we'll see yet again that it's true. Bills at Steelers, your Sunday night game. I'm so excited for this game. I can't stress that enough. I'm taking the Steelers. They got this. They can take the first wild card, not have to play Kansas City, hopefully. And finally, your Monday night game, Colts at Saints. I'm going to take the Saints in that game. So, thank you for tuning into Top Tier Sports. I know this has been a lot, and it might be a little tough to read in this video for you guys. Of course, zoom in. Like, comment, smash that subscribe button. If all goes well, we'll see if all these picks especially have the projected win or loss that they do in my mind. Going into next week, we have 2 weeks left for the NFL. This is such a good NFL season. Both conferences, there's a lot of teams still in it, and both conferences, there's not really a huge gap between the top teams and the wild cards. So I'm very excited for this playoff season. Let me know who you think right now will win the Super Bowl. Let me know what your order is for each conference going into playoffs. And make sure to like, comment, smash that subscribe button on the Beer League Bench Talk.